Hey guys, my name is Keltic, and today I want to talk about something that may outrage some people. That new Legend of Zelda game shown up at the latest Direct was just completely abysmal, and I'm extremely disappointed in this project. The game is called Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and it is the first mainline Zelda game starring Princess Zelda as a protagonist, if we don't include the Philips CDI game The Wand of Gamelon and Zelda's Adventure, and I assure you, no one in their right mind will. This is a huge and monumental moment for the series, and possibly gaming itself, but I feel like Nintendo is going to ruin a great idea by playing it way too safely. First, my biggest complaint is that the game is going to be a top-down dungeon crawler like the older games, instead of being in 3D like Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. I understand that it'd be unlikely for Nintendo to make a full-blown open-world adventure game like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, just because those games are costly and time-consuming, and if the fans don't want to play as Zelda, then it will be a commercial flop and we most likely never get another entry with Zelda as a protagonist again. I just think that it's a shame that Zelda's first game won't be this bombastic and revolutionary title that it deserves to be. Instead, we're getting a 2D Zelda that looks rather basic and oversimplified. The gameplay looks like it has potential, and I'm sure that the puzzles will be nice, but it doesn't look like that great of a game, or at least for a Legend of Zelda game. It feels like we're taking a step back in terms of progress and quality. Now don't get me wrong however, as my main issue is not that the game is top-down like the older games, but the fact that Zelda's first game has to be 2D in order to be financially safer for Nintendo. I love the top-down Zelda games, and I've recently been playing Oracle of Ages and Seasons, and I love them so far. That's not even including my favorite top-down Zelda game, which is the original Link's Awakening. Speaking of Link's Awakening though, let's talk about the art style for Echoes of Wisdom, or more specifically, its lack of an original art style. When I first watched the trailer for this game, the first thing I thought about was the remake for Link's Awakening on the Switch. Now here's the thing, I actually like the art style for that game, and I think it's both cute and charming, and I liked how unique it was when I first saw it. The only issue I have with it now is that it's not unique anymore, and it's just reusing assets at this point. I understand that reusing assets is a completely normal and usually beneficial technique, but it feels so disrespectful to give Zelda her first mainline game, but only if it looks nearly identical to the last top-down Zelda game they just made a few years ago. The game looks rather unoriginal, and I'm just really disappointed that we couldn't get something with more flair, or an art style that could become iconic and intertwined with Zelda as a character. I'm thinking about how unique the Luigi's Mansion games look, and even the new Peach game that came out looks very unique and different from just Mario, but with different characters. I also get the argument that maybe they're making Echoes of Wisdom look like any other Legend of Zelda game, because they want Princess Zelda as a protagonist to be normalized and applicable to any Zelda title moving forward. I'm fine with that, and I even support the idea. I just don't like the fact that such an original and interesting character like Zelda doesn't have more unique gameplay, and it's just Link, but a girl, when she can be so much more than that. Now you may have the counter argument that Echoes of Wisdom is the exact opposite of what I just said, as the gameplay is completely different with no real swordplay and an entirely new weapon for Zelda to use that works like nothing we've ever seen before in the Zelda series. But allow me to explain. First, I'm very happy that Zelda's gameplay is a lot more different than Link's. I have no real major complaints. My only real complaint, however, is that the gameplay does not look like something that really fits Zelda as a character. I know Aonuma has said that the gameplay is made to really highlight Zelda and the Triforce of Wisdom, but it just doesn't fit that idea. My major complaint is that Zelda relies on a weapon that she's never been shown to use before, and it's just magically gifted a magical staff from a magical fairy creature we've also never seen before. The creature's name is Tri, and its design is obviously based off the Triforce, so it's entirely possible that the Triforce itself is giving Zelda the gift, but if so, I think that's still silly, as the staff should have been made far earlier in the timeline, and given to most, if not all of the other Zeldas. Personally, I think it would have been cooler to make Zelda specialize in pure magic and be able to use magic spells of some sort. We've had countless tools and instruments with magical abilities in the series before, but why not lean fully into that for Zelda, who's clearly the most magical one out of the Triforce trio? I was thinking specifically about using some of her moves in Smash Bros, and how she would be able to puppet a suit of armor or use the power of the golden goddesses from the Oracle games. Hell, if you want to, you can even make a game like Sonic Unleashed, where you can play as Zelda during the day and Sheik at night, with different abilities and playstyles for both. Just thinking about these ideas is really exciting to me, and I would love to see something like that in a future Zelda game, and it is definitely what I would have preferred over what she got. Instead of something really powerful and enchanting, we got the ability to copy and paste things anywhere we want. I assure you that as someone who edits far too much, there is nothing in the world that I would prefer doing less than copy and pasting, especially when I have to do it for fun. I like the concept for how creative it is, and there's definitely a lot of potential for it, but I just don't think that it's meant for Zelda as a character, and she's so far above a one-off gimmick. One thing is for certain though, and it's that if you ever do decide to make a sequel for Echoes of Wisdom, I'd heavily doubt that they can bring the copy and pasting back while still finding a way to improve from the original game. However, I think that the unfortunate truth is how very unlikely it is for Zelda to get another new game for a long time. I really don't think this game will sell enough copies for Nintendo to be interested in more more Zelda protagonist games, and I'll more likely just scare them off. Obviously, I don't hope that this happens because I really want to see more. I just want Nintendo to do a better job with such an iconic character, and I really just want something better for her, something with more of a kick to it and a little less vanilla. I also don't want Link to be so important to Zelda games anyways, as her name alone makes her just as established as Link. There have been many Zelda games with Link, but without Zelda showing up, and there's times where she's only briefly mentioned, so I think an argument can be made that the same could apply to Zelda herself, and she doesn't need to rely on Link's image to stand out from the other games in the series. All in all though, I'm hopefully optimistic that Echoes of Wisdom can surpass my low expectations, and I hope it does really well commercially, and more importantly, I truly hope it does lead to an actual Zelda game, and hopefully she'll get her own Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess someday. But what are your thoughts, feelings, and concerns? Feel free to leave them down in the comments, and I'll be sure to take a look at all of them. I also understand that a lot of people may not like this video, which is fair, but if you liked what you saw, then feel free to leave a like, but it's not a big deal if you don't. And if you dislike the video, then gladly do so too, as that helps me understand how to change and improve my content for the better. I'm Keltic, and I review video games and horror films, so feel free to subscribe if you like that stuff, but if you don't then, that's cool too. Until then guys, have a good one, and I'll see you all later.